Hi, welcome again to Simply Thought Analytics. We are still continuing on pivot table. So now let us look at how we can remove any of these components from our pivot table. Assuming I want to remove this number of order. So how do I do that? I will come here, so click on it and then take it into this place. So that one is out. If I click on this other one too, it is out. So the filter, if I want to remove it, I will click on it and then it is out. Then the next option is that if I want to create another pivot table, what I'm going to do is that I will have to copy this, so Control C, then Control V. So when I click on this, I'm going to have another pivot table. So let's remove this one by pressing escape. So now, so this one now, I can remove everything here and then we have a new pivot table. Now, let us do something else. So let's still come back to the to the state. We are going to use state this time around. Let's click on the state. We put it on rows. So the first thing you should notice is that, so let's write state here. So you see this zero. So it means that in our data set, there was a zero value in the state. And this is why we spoke about data cleaning in the first course. So when we don't clean our data well, this is the kind of mess up we are going to be encountering. That is why data cleaning is more than 80% of the task that is required to get insight from data. Because when it is not done well, it's going to be messing up the analysis. And this is an example of that. I deliberately kept it here like this so that you can see it and have a real-time understanding of how an unclean data is going to be impacting our analysis. So good. So what I can do here now is that I can just click here and then just click on this zero so to remove it and then everything is all right. But this is not the best way of doing things. Now, let's look at touch points. So purchase touch points, I will take that and make it our column. So desktop and phone. Probably the other was made from desktop or the other was made from phone. Good. And then I'm going to look at our other value and then we put it in value here. So what can we see? We can see that we have, so there are some states where all the value, all the order that were made here were only made by phone and not by a desktop. Whereas there were some states where the order were made by both phone and desktop. But overall, you can see that more orders were made on phone than on desktop. However, we want to go down and find more insight concerning this particular information. So let's look at other value. Let's look at other type. So we put other type as filter. So now let's look at it. So high value order, low value order, and medium value order. So let's look at high value order first. So now, what do you notice? You can see that a lot of high value order were made using desktop. And those high value order that were made using desktop, they came from majority of these states. So some of the states that had high value order, they had they made those order via desktop, and it was very few orders in those states that came through phone. So that is an information in itself. But before we make this conclusion, let's compare this with low value orders. So we have low value orders. Let's click on it. What can you see? You can see that majority of the low value orders were made via phone. You can see that. So those are informations in itself, and that is how much you can do when it comes to pivot table. You can do so many things with pivot table, and then you can create charts and co. Now, before we go, let me show you something called slicer. So let's come to analyze, and then insert slicer. So let's click it. So a slicer is another way to filter, but a more beautiful way of doing it. So let's look at country. Let's click on country, and then okay. So you can see our slicer now. So when you look at this slicer, you can see that these ones are showing while these ones are not showing. So the reason why these ones are not showing is because there is a filter here, and that filter is not showing zero. So if I click on zero now to show everything in our data set, you will see that everything will show. And that is why I was saying that when you don't clean data well, you're going to mess up a lot of things. So let's move on. Now, with this slicer, we can actually click on anything we want. So let's say we want to see data from Australia. Just click on Australia and you can see these are the data for Australia. So there are four states, one, two, three, four states, and these were their values. So from Canada, only one from Canada, Denmark, this, this, this. So Italy, you can see, and then US. So let me carry this one down. So let me click on this again. So so this is what you call slicer, and its importance. So we can also create a chart. So if I click on this, let's insert a chart, pivot chart. This is a pivot chart. Let's put something here. So let's click on this. So you can see that this slicer is also working for the chart. So if I click on Canada, you can see Denmark, you can see this, see, you can see. So these are several things that we can do with pivot table and pivot chart. This is just an introduction. We are going to be doing an end-to-end project, which will start from data importation to data cleaning, data manipulation, and we are going to be building a pivot table and build a dashboard using all of these methods all together. And at that time, a lot of things will be touched in a more detail. We can format some of these, even these could be formatted, and so on and so forth. So I think at this point we should stop here, and then we meet in the next one. When we are doing some of our end-to-end projects, we are going to be going further detail with some of these concepts. But this is how pivot table and pivot charts work, and I think you should go and practice as much as possible on your own. The data that I use here, I'm going to put it under the description below so that you can download this and we can also try all of these on our own too. Thank you very much.